Hello team, another snap review coming straight out of Cineworld Leicester Square. Tell you what, I've seen a few films recently, seen a few. So this is Heretic, the new horror film that puts Hugh Grant in the position of being an awful bloke. In contrast to his early career, he now only plays awful blokes. I'm going to do like a non-spoilery take first off, and then I'm going to tell you when the spoilers are going to start. So first off, I would say this is a passable, interesting psychological horror thriller that will pass the time and is probably a good date movie, and Hugh Grant is really fun to watch playing this type of character. Okay, that's done. Nothing special. That's that. Now, here's the spoilery take. Spoilers. This film's not as clever as it thinks it is. I felt a lot of like influences coursing through its veins, and all those influences were kind of better than it. So it's kind of like I say, psychological horror, but it's kind of like a big old game. Hugh Grant is this puppet master leading these two Mormon what would you call them? I don't know what you call them. The people who come to the doorstep and try and turn you into a Mormon. Taking them through this like game in his house, down in his basement and whatnot. And in that sense, is very much like Saw. He's not quite Jigsaw, but it's a similar vibe. You know, there's kind of like a complexity under the hood that you're supposed to be very intrigued by, and it's supposed to be a bit of a mind melter, and you're supposed to be like, oh, what is going on here? And then it's slowly revealed and whatnot. And the reveal is not that exciting. So you know, ultimately, like, Hugh Grant is taking them downstairs on the pretense that he's going to teach them about religion, and then over time you realise he's actually not teaching them anything about religion really, other than that he kind of believes it doesn't exist, and that the only religion that exists, in his words, is control, i.e. he was able to manipulate them to come downstairs in the first place. Why did they come downstairs? Why did they even come inside? Religion is all about control. It's kind of a bit bullshit. It's not as clever as it thinks it is. And in terms of like working the game out and the construct of the game, it's not as interesting as something like Saw. In terms of like the kind of gooey, disgusting cellar vibes, because they go down into a cellar, it reminded me a lot of Barbarian, which was a horror film that I loved from a couple of years ago. And if you haven't seen Barbarian, do go watch it. But Barbarian is almost entirely based in a cellar with some uninvited guests down in that cellar, similar to this film. However, watching this film, I was like, wow, if this isn't heavily influenced, because it may have been written before Barbarian was even released, it's at least iterating on it without realizing in the conversation of cinema. Because in the canon of horror, Barbarian now is the bastion of cellar-based horror films, in my opinion, and you can't go down into a cellar without referencing Barbarian, and they do, and it's not as creepy, it's not as gooey, it's not as icky, and it's not as horror-y, really. And that's my another criticism of this film. As alongside it's not as clever as it thinks it is, it's not enough of a horror either. Hugh Grant is creepy, but he's not really that menacing or scary at any times. His plan is creepy, but doesn't feel extremely foreboding despite what's happening on screen. Hard to describe what I mean by that, but yeah. There aren't that many quote-unquote like moments in the film, horror moments, you know, that things that make you go ooh. And I don't know if that's because I'm coming off the back of Smile 2 the other day, where it was just like bang after bang. And I'm not saying that's how horror should be, but I do think that I'm probably a bit conditioned to that after seeing Smile 2. And seeing this, you're kind of like, you're talking about a film with maybe 4 real moments of horror. I know I said I was going to do spoilers, but I probably won't go into the actual moments. But across a 1 hour, 50-minute film, it's really not that much. And then when you get to those moments of horror, are they really, really effective moments of horror? Not really. Did I feel really, really scared of the situation or Hugh Grant or the game? Or not really. Some bits were like, the atmosphere was good. It was technically constructed well, so I really liked the cinematography. Sound design was nice. And I did think it was paced okay, considering it's 1 hour 50 for quite a contained story with only 3 characters plus a kind of cameo character. So all that's fine. I just didn't think it's enough of a horror as it needs to be, and I don't think it's as clever as it thinks it is, to repeat myself for the millionth time. So it is something out. It's something out in the cinema, and if you're looking for something that is entertaining and will pass the time, then it will absolutely do the job. But equally, it'll probably fill a Saturday evening, Sunday evening on Amazon Prime, you know, in a year from now, that kind of thing. Yeah. I feel quite underwhelmed, to be honest. I was kind of always waiting for it to get going. I kept looking at my watch, and I was like, and I was surprised at how much of the film had taken place, like, because it was paced well, like I say. But I kept looking at my watch and being like, oh fucking hell, we're like into the final act now, and it really feels like we haven't really hit the horror, you know. Maybe it doesn't want to be a horror. I feel like it kind of does. Halloween release, previews on 31st of October. It's marketed as a horror. Is it a thriller? No. Yeah, I just feel like it doesn't really have much of anything by the end for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go review this on Letterboxd. So if you are a Letterboxer, then hit me up on there. I think once I get on there, I'll probably give it something like a 2 out of 5, really. So 4 out of 10 for all you out of 10ers. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you got to the end, please do subscribe, because I'm trying to build up a subscriber base of people who like films, because that's what my content on YouTube is going to be henceforth. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.